Hey, what's up? It's Ben from WODprep, and in this video, I am going to teach you about the difference between squat and power positions in weightlifting. So this video is specifically for weightlifting for CrossFit if you're a beginner. So beginners and intermediate might learn some special things in this video. There's a lot of confusion sometimes about what the difference is between a power snatch and a squat snatch. I know, weightlifters watching this are like, there's no difference, it's a snatch. But in CrossFit, we actually do have definitions between the difference between power snatch and power clean and squat clean and squat snatch. So we have to separate those two because they are technically two different movements in the sport of CrossFit, and that's what this video is all about. So first, if you are looking to advance your technique, especially in the snatch, I have a completely free training guide that I want to give you called The 5 Drills Every CrossFitter Must Know When It Comes to the Snatch. If you want to learn more about that and figure out how to get it, wait till the end of the video and I will reveal the details on how you can claim your free copy. With that, let's start by identifying the difference between a squat and a power position. So just for the sake of coordination and trying to talk while I'm doing video, I'm going to stick to the clean. So a power clean is where I'm catching the weight and standing up, never passing through a squat position. So that means I'm catching the weight above parallel and then standing up. Here's what it looks like. I'll turn just so you can see. So a power clean could look like this. See, I'm catching it clearly above the squat position and standing. But what a lot of people don't realize is that a power clean can also look like this. I don't think I'm all the way down. Nope. As you can see, I still have my hip crease above the top of my knee and I stand. Even though it was a very squatty position, it still was technically a power clean. So again, watch one more time. A power clean is anything that I catch, or power snatch, is anything that I catch above this position. So this position, you can see my hip crease is at or below the top of my knee. If I'm a little bit above that, hip crease above the top of my knee, that means whether I'm in the clean or snatch and I stand, that is technically a power snatch or a power clean because I caught it above parallel. So don't be confused. You don't have to catch it all the way up here for it to count. And that's what I notice a lot of people when they're working on the power position, they only let themselves get about this low and then they stand. They very rarely practice receiving the bar in a half squat or 3/4 squat position, okay? So what does a squat clean or a squat snatch look like? Well, as you can imagine, it's either of those movements that receives in or passes through a squat position. By CrossFit standards, a squat is when the hip crease passes below the top of the knee, or we go below parallel. Here's what it looks like. You can see I'm all the way down, and then I stand. Now, technically, by CrossFit standards, this would also count as a squat clean. You can see how I rode the barbell down. Technically, I caught it here, but since I rode it down into the full squat, that still counts. I passed through that position. So with that, hopefully now you should be able to tell very easily whether it's a squat clean or squat snatch or power clean or power snatch. It sometimes is really close, like what happens if it's right at parallel? I don't know, that's a tough call and you're gonna have to rely on your coaches to judge you. But technically, passing below that parallel position, squat, staying at or above parallel, power. So let's talk about why we would use the power position. Why would we practice power cleans and power snatches in our sport of CrossFit or functional fitness? Well, number one, the power position is a great, easier version. It's a great scaled or progression of the full squat. Obviously, it's a little bit easier for me to pick the barbell up, catch it on my shoulders, and stand. That's a lot easier than trying to do the same thing where I catch and ride it down into that full squat. Why is that easier? Well, there's less moving parts, less mobility is required. There's just, frankly, less moving pieces for your brain to get confused. It requires a little bit less coordination. So for that, one reason we practice the power, and we're often taught the power position early on in our journey of learning these barbell movements, is because it's just an easier thing to practice. Number two is that it can also be used as a technique to teach stronger pulling. What I mean by that is the power position, making sure that you receive the barbell above that parallel position, means that you have to really focus on pulling really, really hard. So what I find is that sometimes athletes get a little reliant on the squat to catch their lifts. And because of that, they actually don't finish the pull. They don't finish jumping with their legs to put a ton of power into the floor and thus move as much weight. So if I don't use all the power of my legs and I just rely on dropping under the barbell into a full squat, there's actually some times where you'll see people sacrifice a lot of power and a lot of weight that they could have moved if they had practiced those power positions and really learning to jump that weight up and use all of the power of their legs to get upward momentum on that barbell. So not only can it be used as a great scaled progression for the squat clean and the squat snatch, it can also be used as a training tool to help you really develop that pulling power and get as much vertical height on that barbell as you possibly can without having to rely on dropping underneath into that full squat. And the final reason to practice the power positions that I'm going to talk about in this video, I'm sure there's a litany of other reasons, but another reason is to reduce overtraining the squat. Think about it. If every time we touch the barbell, we were only practicing the squatting movements, not only would it be a little bit more difficult to learn, we'd also always be fatiguing our quads and our legs. We'd be doing a lot more movement with our legs. When we focus on those power positions, it's less fatigue on our legs and it can prevent overtraining. In CrossFit, we're always trying to prepare with muscle confusion and all that stuff where we're practicing different movements at different times. We don't want to always just practice the squatting patterns. While squatting patterns are phenomenal, and we're going to get to that in a second, power versions of the lifts can be a great way to prevent squatting and going below parallel too many days per week. Now let's talk about why we would practice squatting. Number one, most important reason we do squat cleans or squat snatches, or in weightlifting terms, snatches and cleans, full versions. That's because they're stronger. My full clean and my full snatch, or squat clean, squat snatch, are much stronger than my power versions. Why is that? Well, if you look at the fundamentals of how high you need to lift the bar, I don't need to lift the bar as high with my pull if I'm squatting underneath of it to receive it. But if I need to catch that bar above parallel, I need to pull it higher. So to receive the barbell, and I'm just going to demonstrate without the bar here, to receive the barbell in a power position, let's say I'm catching it in a pretty low power position, I would need to get the barbell this high, okay? But if I needed to receive it in a squat position, I only need to get the barbell this high, technically, okay? So you can see there's a difference between how high I need to move it for the power and how high I need to move it for the squat. Now, this all goes to say that you need to be coordinated enough. So that's reason number two that we practice these squatting positions, is not only is it a stronger movement, and spoiler alert, if your power snatch and power clean are stronger than your squat snatch and squat clean, you need to do some work. And I highly recommend that you join our WODprep weightlifting course because we'll teach you how to develop those positions. But moving on, other than just being stronger, it also is a great movement to help us practice coordination. There's more moving pieces. There's more moving parts. It requires more thinking and more muscle fibers to be used and lots of coordination to properly time dropping under the bar for a squat clean or a squat snatch. Well, that's a great reason we practice them, because in CrossFit, we're always trying to increase our coordination. And then point number three, we kind of already touched on it. The squatting pattern trains more muscles. Squatting is good for you. Squatting is probably something you do every single day when you sit on the toilet. So if we don't train the squat, then we're going to lose our ability to squat. Training the squat with a little bit of weight, especially weight overhead and weight in the front rack, is a great way to maintain full squat mobility. You're training that mobility, that positional strength to carry weight all the way from here, all the way down to the bottom of that squat position. Show me someone who can catch a clean at the bottom or catch a snatch at the bottom, control it, and stand all the way up. And that someone is coordinated and mobile, and that's someone who's going to stay healthy for a really long time. So with that being said, we've covered the difference between power and squat, snatches, and cleans. That means the next time you go to the gym, you should easily be able to call out to your buddy and say, that was a power clean, or that was a squat clean, and obviously no rep them when allowed. And then next, if you want to learn how to do the snatch properly and the clean properly, we actually have a full-blown training course that's going to be released. Depending on when you're watching this video, it might already be out. If you want to check to see if we are accepting students into enrollment, just click the link below, look for WODprep Weightlifting. And again, it is a course that's going to take your training to the next level. Obviously, if you want to get our free training, you can go to wodprep.com/snatch, and I'll send you 5 drills completely free that you should practice if you're trying to learn how to snatch. But again, if you want to actually learn the clean, snatch, and the jerk all together in a comprehensive step-by-step program, then I highly recommend checking out WODprep Weightlifting. With that being said, Tell me, what is one thing you learned from this video below? What is one thing that you might not have known for the squat or the power positions that you learned in this video? And what's one takeaway that you're going to apply to your training? So with that, hope you loved this video. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Smash the subscribe button if you already haven't, and I'll see you in the next video.